Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this video where I'm going to do a little Mustang update showing you some of the things that she's a little bit scared of, but also showing you how I got her to start eating grain, which is a pretty big step because then I can actually feed her dewormer, or if I need to give her medication or anything, then I have some options available to me. So it's kind of an important step. So first up, this is the horse that's saddled is Loki. He's a horse that was doing a training session with Coach Ryan there. And my little Mustang is standing at the back of her pen, watching very intently, is like, what on earth do you have on that horse? What are you doing to that horse? And you can see her expression. She just has her ears pricked straight forward. She did a couple like little spooky, startly things that I didn't quite catch on camera, but you can kind of see that she's kind of frozen, like looking at him, and then kind of looks away like, no, wait, are you still there? And looks straight on ahead again. So it's kind of a cute way to just watch how she reacts to seeing something very different and very confusing. It's like, yep, that's a saddled horse. And then this is her being just kind of freaked out in her pen about something. I'm not entirely sure what it was that had her so upset. I had my two little kids playing at our little playground nearby. I had my dogs out, but they weren't around her pen, so I wasn't really sure. Like, there's not like a super serious bad thing going on, but you can see she kind of runs around. She runs up to the corner to kind of look and see what's going on, and then she canters away and does these like little circles and things and comes up and kind of looks and runs away. So you can kind of see that even though a lot of the footage I share with you guys is her being like pretty calm and seems pretty quiet, she definitely can be reactive still. So that was a little bit of footage kind of showing you that. And then here you can see I put one of my other horses out with her. So this is my horse Khaleesi that you guys have seen. She's the one that came with me to the expo, and she is in there now. And I put her in there so that way I could put out the little bucket of grain and my Mustang could watch Khaleesi eat the bucket of grain. And when they get to see another horse eat it and be okay, and the other horse wants to eat it, then they become much more curious about what's in the bowl. So because she wasn't really eating grain before, she did lick at the minerals and the salt, and she does lick the salt lick and the minerals, but she has not been eating the grain at all. And it's a very helpful thing for me if they can start eating that grain, because then I can add that dewormer to it. If I need to give any type of medication, like if she needs antibiotics for something, it gives me options, but also then it means I can start getting closer to using positive reinforcement in terms of food for training. I could actually use like cookies or grain or something like that, because there's still no grass to pick. You can kind of see just from looking out of the pen that it's getting warmer, but there's no grass growing yet. And of course she has her big hay bale. So if she can eat some grain, then that could make some training things a little bit more possible. What's also kind of neat is you get to see how she interacts with my horse Khaleesi. And you're going to see that she has some dominant moments. Now, fairness to her, this is her pen where she's been living. This is not where Khaleesi is, but I love how she accepted Khaleesi into this little paddock. Some of the Mustangs can be quite territorial and dominant, and they can throw some pretty big kicks. We've had those issues in the past. But she actually welcomed Khaleesi pretty well, and you can see she's just kind of letting Khaleesi eat the grain, and she's standing there, and she's just kind of pausing, thinking, taking it all in, which is very much what we've seen her be like when I'm working with her too. She just kind of needs time to stand and think about what's going on. And she did not eat the grain to start with. She just kind of, she sniffed at the bowl. But what I ended up doing was bringing over a second bowl. And what it is alfalfa pellets and a vitamin mineral balance called balancer called Optimal, which has some protein in it, but also has the vitamins and minerals balanced in it. The alfalfa pellets give me something that I could give as like a treat. It's a bit of a thicker pellet, but it's also very healthy. So like there you could see my Mustang pushed Khaleesi off of her little bucket. And Khaleesi's so cute because she's just kind of nearby, kind of waiting for a turn at the bowl, but she accepts that my Mustang is the dominant one. And then you can see Khaleesi kind of sneaks her way into the bowl. So my Mustang goes back over to the other bowl. Originally, I put the bowls far enough apart to give them their own space, and then I had to bring the bowls over closer just so that way they could be together. And you can see my Mustang is sniffing the grain, is inspecting, like, okay, you're actually eating this. But see, she's not actually grabbing a bite of food there yet. She's just sniffing in the bowl, inspecting what Khaleesi's doing. And you can see here she kind of starts to nose it a little bit. And Khaleesi's like, yep, like, let me eat that grain. So what I love about this is I'm not sure how long it would take if you were just to put a bowl of grain in a paddock with a Mustang, how long it would take if you did that every day, for how long until they would actually finally eat it. For her, for my Mustang, I did that for probably at least a week of giving her a fresh little bowl. I'd only do like the tiniest little scoop because I didn't want to waste a lot of grain. And she just never ate it really. Like, she kind of took the couple little bits in her mouth that I showed you guys in a previous video and mostly spat them out, and then hasn't really been intrigued to try it since. So here, having Khaleesi in with her has made her be very interested in these little buckets again. And I just love how accepting she was of Khaleesi as well, not very mean or anything. And this just shows you a little clip of her with her ginormous round bale of hay. So she has lots of hay that she can eat, and it's great quality hay, which is why like using hay doesn't really work. And of course, there's no grass. Normally I can use grass as a reward, but then she's got her hay and there's no grass growing. So here you can see she's starting to get curious about the grain in the bucket. So she comes over, she's sniffing it. All of that nose pushing is her kind of inspecting the grain and kind of thinking about, like, do I really want to get into this? And then you see the little bit of pawing. And so that can definitely be a trait that horses do when they're thinking about food, or it can be that they're frustrated and a whole bunch of other things, but it can just be food related, like they're digging for food, unsure about something. There's lots of reasons why horses can paw, and it's not uncommon that even in domestic horses, they're eating their grain and yet they're pawing at the same time as they're eating their grain. But you can see after kind of thinking about it, she actually goes in and takes a couple mouthfuls of grain. And then this is fast forward a couple days now of doing the same thing, and you can see she's actually eating the grain, and she's being super cute about it. See how she's taking those big wide mouthfuls, like she's almost biting the bottom of the bowl because she hasn't really figured out how to use her lips and just take in the grain a little bit. So she's doing these big ginormous bites of the grain and figuring out how to do it. And she still has these moments where she's like, oh, I don't know if I like the taste of that. That tastes a little funny. And I do the mixture of alfalfa, and I do keep it kind of separate to start with, the alfalfa on one side of the bowl and the optimal on the other side of the bowl. But as you can see, she mixes her bowl up by literally tipping it, by doing all this nosing around. So although I try to give her the two separate flavor options, it's something that kind of turns into a whole mixed bowl anyways, but it's really kind of adorable how she does those big bites. It's all part of that process of her figuring out what to do. And then you can see now, fast forward a couple more days, and she's eating the grain a little bit more normally, still having those moments where she kind of takes a bite and does that little head tossy thing like that right there, which kind of means, okay, interesting flavor, a little bit different, like she's figuring it out, but she's still eating it. She's still chewing. She's not actually spitting it out, and she'll actually put her head down to go down for more. So this is exciting. I'm definitely not going to introduce dewormer or supplements or anything else until she's really eager and keen on the grain. But the fact that she's starting to eat it, like she's getting familiar with the little bowl and she's actually eating the food in there, means that my options for supplements, and I can't wait to deworm her because, I like to make sure that my horses are healthy and give them proper health care. So I'm just excited for her to get into this step and see where we can go from there. So if you guys enjoyed watching her progress.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.